everybody, and welcome back to Heidi's house. This is your host, Queen Bee Heidi B. And today our featured guest is none other than legendary Robert Owens. I'm so excited to hear about his house music journey. So are you ready? Then let's go. So here he is. Robert Owens is in the house.
Thank you so much for inviting me here, family. I'm very grateful for us.
I'm super grateful to have you. And as you know, Robert, I was mentioning to you prior we started this that your music has been one of those things that has carried me and been going with me to different places along all of these years. So I'm
Thank you
especially
so much.
grateful that you joined in.
I always say one hand washes the other. I tell people you're my lifeline. I exist because of you. And, I always have you. People hear me always saying family. And for me, it is family. When I meet you, I take you in. And the thing, only negativity can, tarnish that viewpoint. But otherwise, I believe, unity is strength. And, the more of us are unified and it's important because music has a healing power and we can cross different genres and barriers with us uniting, just through music.
Yes, music unites people. That has been also some personal slogan for a long time to myself as well. And without the music, I wouldn't be had that chance to meet all of those amazing people and have beautiful life experiences related to music.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm.
So once again, this is a great example of that.
Thank you so much.
So, welcome to Heidi's House Music Podcast, which is a snapshot kind of podcast sharing each featured guest's house music journey very shortly. Um, uh, but the idea is to get to know a bit about the featured guest and their house music journey, and then also encourage people to educate and learn more about the house music genre in the past, present, and also some ideas for the future. So we are here to educate
Wonderful.
our audience.
Wonderful.
And of course, you are one of the very key persons from early on in a house music culture, in the formation of the house music sound, one of the main vocalists there, male vocalists, very well-known sound, and you have a repertoire of essential house music tracks that you have released as well. So
Yes, and continually in the studio. I was in the studio yesterday. I'm continually
yeah,
creating, and I feel like I'm
exactly.
an old relic in this business. I tell people I was here in the business before house. I come in out of the disco era. I used to
Mhm.
go to a lot of the up north clubs in Chicago, like in the early mid '80s and stuff into the '90s. I come up around the Frankie Knuckles and Ron Hardy and Larry Levan and this kind of people during that period. We was doing pitch control editing on cassette decks. And we were pause editing mixes and stuff. Back then on the cassettes. So
Yeah.
yeah, I come in early before even the half inch where we were doing the splice editing. So.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, the journey and to see, past to present and constantly evolving with the new generation of
Yes.
younger people that's developing different platforms, like you're developing this platform for people to get a reference to, what's there and what was, I think it's really beautiful.
It is, and one thing that you just mentioned, really, I think when we talk about the artists, there is no expiry date. the true definition of the artist is really that the creativity really never ends and it just keeps evolving and evolving. And I think you are one of those great examples, having
Thank
that
you.
career more than 40 years already. I
Yeah.
know that you have been around and you are still super active in different ways in music genres, not
Yeah.
only as a singer, songwriter, producer, a DJ, labels,
Yeah,
everything
that's
going
okay. Yeah.
on.
And
Yeah.
you mentioned 40 years. We're doing like a bunch of date sessions this the 40 years of Robert Owens tour. And some
Yes.
dates with the band. I just did the Jazz Cafe with the band, and we did two shows back to back. It was really nice to go back down that journey because I think a lot of people they're not aware of even my history and that background, working with bands. At one point when I lived in London, I had an 11-piece band there. I've worked with orchestras. I did touring all across England up to Scotland with Pete Tong with the orchestra, back to basics with Dave Beer and Leeds with the orchestra. God, it's been a beautiful journey. I even played in Sydney Opera House twice. And, I didn't even know I was being booked there. So I could tell you all kind of stories. We could be here forever, but let's get to the
Yeah,
roots of
I
what you want to
know.
know. I
The
won't go
serious
on and on. I
matters.
could rattle on and on, blah, blah, blah. But let's get to the basics of what you want to
Yes,
know.
and that's actually a very nice bridge to the question that I have always asked for my featured guest. Because okay, when we have been around for a longer time, people know us artists, and we don't need to necessarily introduce ourselves. But now that
Yeah.
I've always loved to ask that same question because I'm interested how the artist or guests themselves defines themselves. So my question is, in your own words, who
Hmm.
is Robert Owens?
Who is Robert Owens? Robert Owens is a vessel. And I'm being guided, I think, by higher sources. I don't know what their name is or who it is, if it's a group of them, if it's one individual, but I think I'm a vessel that's being guided to deliver messages and,
Mm.
messages of love, hope, inspiration. I'm being guided and I'm just giving back what's given to me. And I think that's kind of a short emphasis of who Robert is.
Beautifully said. And I have to say that I agree because we truly get everything from something that we can define maybe with different names and different ways, but
Yes,
it
yes,
exists and we are like a vessels, like a tools to
yes.
express all the different kind of dimensions and variations of that same
Yeah.
force that goes around and is
And I
there.
love the fact, don't put a label on it. Too much in society, they've put a label on it, which is called separation from different cultures and people. But love has no title.
Yes.
It just is, and so I'm more of that coming from that angle and, unification. And it looks like it's going to rain. So we're going to keep talking, but I'm going to go over here across the street and get up under one of these things so my phone don't
Yes.
get with my phone don't get
Yeah.
wet.
Yes.
Yeah,
N-
but yeah, I'm listening to you.
All right. So now let's take a little time travel session to
Yeah.
those early years that you mentioned already about. When did you discover, Robert, that you had the talent for music and singing? What is your earliest experience in that
God,
area?
I remember
Music.
like 5 or 6 going a lot in the urban families. You have situations where it's like the aunts or the uncles will keep the children from week to week.
Mhm.
So I had an aunt, a favorite aunt that I would go over her house a lot. And she would always have me kind of entertained for her friends. She'd put me on the table and say, "Dance, boy." She's like, "Look at him. I'm telling y'all that boy gonna be something one day. Look at him move." And I
Wonderful.
think that's a early like kind of thought that stayed in my mind and heart as just a child. That like she always believed in me, I mean, it could be something, one day, I think naively, just as a child, that stayed there. And I always had the instinct to want to entertain people,
Yeah.
and even in the neighborhood, I've always felt like just walking down the street and stuff, I've always been like a magnet towards people, and people would stop and look at me or want to talk to me. And like as a kid, younger guys and stuff be like, man, can you play some drums? You do something. I was always trying to make a band or something with just people I would meet in the neighborhood. So I think it's instinctively something was instilled in me from probably birth, or it could be from a former life. We don't, you hear all of these different scenarios of um skeptics and stuff, people that say, different things about humanity and human beings. I could, it could be energy from a former life or something, but instinctively, it's been in me to want to entertain and seeing through entertaining, seeing other people happy through me giving a part of myself through a form of entertainment, whether it was singing or dancing. I knew that that was a way left of the negativity that I saw in within family environments, within rivalry, competitive natures of things where people wanted you to compete and all of that. I seen an alternative angle through entertaining where it was like almost escapism from out of those left of realities. And so that's been always instilled in me. This is an angle of peace. This is an angle of happiness. This is an angle of unconditional love where you can give unconditionally and nobody can stop you. They can either they're gonna like you or they're not gonna like you. But at least as a human being that you're giving 100% of yourself unconditionally. And I think that's still instilled in me today. And, that's kind of my viewpoint towards creating music, um, working with other artists. It's the same thing. I tell other artists, no matter what I know or what I've accumulated, knowledge wise, when we meet each other and we try to go and to compose something together, we do it equally. We walk in the door equally. It's about respect of one another as well.
True. Very true. And I think you described so beautifully that kind of like a inner thriving or calling to fulfill that role of a vessel, and in a very authentic way when
Yes,
meeting people and creating music
and maybe even awakening an unknown energy or an unknown voice that's there waiting, resting inside of you. You think
yeah.
from an infant you're innocent, and then you're tainted as you grow through humanity and all of these obstacles that jump in the way. So maybe it's returning back to a voice that's waiting there to awaken some unknown knowledge that's there too as well.
Yeah. I always think somehow that okay, the personal life reflection that it is interesting how quite often the path seems to be like doing a full circle, that you start with the fresh open mind where you are not kind of corrupted by the world and you are still open to love and uh,
Mm-hmm.
have the unity. Kids, small kids, don't they accept everybody? They come to
Yeah.
everybody with a heart full of love, and then we
Mhm.
get kind of like through that crash course of life.
Yeah.
Maybe hopefully at some point we kind of wake up and start to return back to the love
Yeah.
and back to the
Yeah.
open persons. I'm
Yeah.
hearing something
Yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah.
something like that in the things that you are talking there.
Yes, yes, I believe this.
Mm.
Well, it's a possibility. I always say, I went into I often, I say, it's not good to tell people how to do something because all of us are unique in our own right. I can offer
Yeah.
you a viewpoint to look at something, look at a situation and see what you see out of that situation that might relate to you and where you're at this moment in time.
Yes, yes. So there's no really absolute truth. There's kind of like a different perspective, so to say,
Yeah, well, I
and
say we all are unique,
personal truths.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's factual carbon dated evidence of certain situations and things, though. But then, as
Mhm.
far as you as a human being, you have to create your own direction and avenue and truth for you, where
Yeah.
you want to be and what you want to give back to humanity.
Yes. Okay, then if we go back to the house music journey, what was it that
Hmm.
originally got you, Robert, into house music? Since you are really the one of the instrumental people there, but what was it that got you there originally?
Well, I was saying earlier, I think I mentioned a little bit about I come into the scene off of the disco era and like coming up as a child, I've always been involved with music, whether it had been like at a family gathering where they always would ask me to select the music. This is even before mixers and the two turntables came in. They was like, oh, yeah, but you pick the music out, baby. You know the ones that you match them up together and all of that.
Mhm.
I always had certain family members that sing something in me entertainment wise. I was the go-to kind of person in the family, musically. And then later I started doing my own parties and stuff, cleaning out basements, asking the landlord could I use their basement and doing different neighborhood parties and stuff, just coming up in high school and stuff. And again, in those early stages, I had one turntable. I'd
Mhm.
play a record and people would talk, and then I put on another record and they start dancing. Oh man, there go my jam and stuff. And
Yes.
so I've been musical from a child. It's been something in me musical, and then that just evolved to me doing clubs, getting I've worked like 5 nights a week at one period in a pub in Chicago, and
Yeah.
then doing university, high schools, and again home parties and stuff that I did. And then that led me to eventually meeting Larry Hurd, where somebody brought him to one of my gigs, and I met him and he played me some music that he was doing, and I was instantly, drawn to what he was doing. And he asked me to come over to his house, and I brought some lyrics, and I instantly just started putting words with his material, and he was kind of surprised at how fast and accurate I was with connecting with him. And he just instantly asked me on that first day going over, "Well, you want to start a band?" I
Yeah.
was like, I was like, okay. I was like shocked, kind of surprised. He was like, instantly, let's start a group. I was like, okay. And Fingers Inc. was born, but
Exactly.
musically I've always been there and always tried to put groups together. So also that wasn't like a shock either, growing up. It's almost like on the timeline, it was destined to happen. It happened in different variations, but it never stuck properly. And I think the first time it actually kind of gelled properly was with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and then it just evolved and evolved for me going to traveling out of state to different cities and then out of the country to different countries. And it just continually keeps evolving, and that's where I got to be grateful, I guess, to like always count the blessings, definitely.
Exactly. Now you mentioned about that songwriting. So was that the time when you met Larry Heard that you realized that you have a gift of songwriting, writing lyrics,
No, I
and
said, I mentioned to you earlier a minute ago that earlier I was always forming groups and bands coming up,
Mhm.
like,
So you
little
also,
talent contests and stuff. So
yeah.
it's always been there in me, but it just
Hmm.
seriously jailed where it went to the level of us trying to say, we're going to put a record out. You know,
Yeah.
I introduced him to some friends of mine who financed his first record coming out on Alleviated Records.
Hmm.
Well, maybe his second or third record or something. I helped him in that area too as well. So I think I was always there doing it, but it was never, to a serious point of like, this
Hmm.
is going to become a record, or it's going to, really get out there. But doing it and forming groups and bands, that's been a part of my life for years.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And you have created one of those really key essential tracks in a genre of house music. My favorite personally is Tears, and
Oh,
and and,
thank you.
it resonates with me very, very, very deeply, and it is something that almost like my go to tracks when I'm in a certain mood that I need to release the emotional,
Oh,
something
thank
within
you
me.
so
I
much.
might put it into background, and really it helps me to release the emotions. uh, I have understood it's very personal story behind that also, and this is the grounds that you are writing your songs from, right?
Well, a lot of people say a lot of my writing has a melancholy kind of nature about it, you know. But I always like to think that sometimes I do a straight sadness, but then sometimes I do a sadness and then a way out of that sadness,
Yeah,
you know. And
exactly.
I try to write about life experiences and just people that I'm around, something that I might have experienced, but just even talks. You know, I've been around certain people and they've told me about something that went on in their life, and you know that um, triggered me to write about that experience from my perspective of what I felt from their conversation. You know, I think a lot of writing and singing should be about life, you know, so you're tuned with others, you know, and you think some things that you may have felt and dealt with, somebody else might feel that too, and as well. And you writing about that or singing about it in a certain way may trigger emotion to help them heal from that
Yes.
experience.
Yes. And this is what I think it was really and has been doing to me, that it is really for that kind of like letting go. Yes, there
Mm-hmm.
is a melancholy element, but it's more about the releasing. That's
Mm-hmm.
the experience for me myself. And of course, with the Fingers Inc., you released a lot of tracks that have been sampled then uh, thousand times afterwards, legendary tracks and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But if I think it might be Mission Impossible now, uh, since you released so much music. But what would you say if you think all of your catalog of music? Are there
Mm-hmm.
some particular tracks that somehow stand out to you more, and maybe why?
Is it? No, you know, I think each song is a moment in time and you know, experience that you felt from whoever you were working with at that time, you know. It's like people. I always say to people that you are unique in your own right. You should never fear walking in the door to compare yourself to no one, you know. You when you come in the door, there's no one in there like you. So never fear your uniqueness and giving you back to the world. Even as DJs, it's like you shouldn't change who you are just because you're in the room with a certain DJ. Or I've seen DJs that want people to change. Oh, don't play this style or don't do that. No, it's about you and that audience when you're up there, you know, and you know, from any perspective in life. You know, it's about you and what you giving at that moment in time, you know, back to the system. And no one should never change that, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree with that because you truly bring your unique energy and your unique vision and take there. So it's really like one way of expressing your uniqueness in that way.
Mhm.
And I think we should appreciate that. Or I personally think like that. Or I
Mhm.
share this vision. Now, going to the DJing, if you could somehow describe what are the essential elements that you wish to have in your DJing sets? What would those be?
You know, with DJing sets, you know, I can prepare folders, you know, because I'm constantly going, I probably go through 1,000 tracks or at least 1,000 is sent to me every couple of weeks. And so
Mhm.
I might go through 200.
Yeah.
So my inbox is filled with thousands of tracks that I'll never even see. And, you know, I
Wow.
just narrow down to like, I might spend 5 hours just going through tracks. I might find 10 that I really like that kind of relate to where I'm at musically within folders that I'm using at present. And then when it comes to actually playing at sets, I never prepare. I react to the audience. I look at the crowd. sometimes I come before, maybe a few hours before the set, and I listen to what the other DJs are playing, and then I look at the crowd, how they're reacting to the different styles that are being played. And then when I'm up there, it's for me, it's part scientist and part entertainment. And again, I react to the moment. So, I'll maybe the first 15 minutes is me trying to fill out what can I play, how far can I take them, on this journey. And then once I feel like I have I've engaged with you where you trust me to take you on a journey, then I'm like a roller coaster. I go, all over the place. I can play anything from disco to techno and different variations of house. And then I might throw in an odd vocal that you remembered from even an R&B level, and it's got a house rhythm on it. And then I might throw in some mad sound effect and then some other vocal sound effects and stuff. So for me, it's definitely about entertainment and reacting to the moment.
Yes, so creating that experience of
Yeah.
entertainment with the crowd.
Taking people on a musical journey and escapism from whatever negativity that they were dealing with in society for those few hours that they're with me. We're all together on this journey.
Beautifully said. And I think this was very valuable comment for anybody who is DJing themselves or aspiring the DJing, because I was just recently in one workshop where we actually talked about how do we plan our sets and in what way and what is our aim there and everything like that. So you gave just a beautiful insight of on how you do it, and I hope that our audience can reflect with that and get inspired and maybe encouraged to be themselves and do their own style as well.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. Hey, now we talked prior a bit about the past, and I would now like to shift the focus on present moment and maybe a bit about the future. So, what is currently going on with Robert Owens, music-wise?
Oh, well, currently I was in the studio yesterday. I'm constantly in the studio working with different artists and artists from a lot of different countries. And even on my journey traveling, I play a lot throughout Europe, mostly, and I'm constantly meeting different artists when I play out. And we stay in touch with each other. Some artists have sent me demos and even like being visible on Instagram. This is Robert Owens on Instagram. A lot of artists send me demos and they contact me, and if I get a good vibe from you, I try to build a rapport and I go in the studio and I do something. If you go to Beatport or Track Source, it's thousands of tracks there now. And that's a lot of that's been me just connecting with artists off of Facebook or Instagram. And, trying to bring us together from those different angles. These days digitally, you don't have to be in the same place. You just have to build a good rapport with someone of trust. And sometimes you can sense and feel that through just a basic conversation with someone like this on Zoom, visually or just written, and you get a sense of, the beauty of an individual and stuff. And, they compel you to go and open up and, give yourself, because also you have to be careful too these days, where how, where and you how you place your energy out here, because everyone is not there for positive vibes and positive input. So you also be careful. But I tell people too, from one angle, I'm a fountain. It's constantly pouring. As long as I live, I want this fountain to constantly be pouring for people to just come and drink from it, and keep developing and giving, and meeting people and globally traveling. I've been fortunate, at an average, I'm probably on the road maybe every other week flying around Europe, and been back to America off and on now, performing and connecting with different artists there. So the journey is continually evolving, and then I have my label Musical Directions, where I'm also developing artists there, And, if you get a chance to go on there, musicaldirections.com, you can see the website and what I'm starting there. It's still, I got to work out different kinks there, but it's a perspective of Robert Owens there on the website, definitely, where you can see a history of where I'm at, where I've been, where I'm at, and hopefully get a little instinct of where it's going.
Yes, I think you wrapped it up very beautifully. I'm listening all that, and I'm thinking how important. Once again, they came a lot of lessons in from my perspective now to everybody watching this, that how it's important to support different kind of artists, how it's important to network and be open for collaboration
Yes, yes.
and keep evolving the sounds, and also kind of like support and mentor new artists,
Mm.
because your effect to people around you, how it lifts them up and helps them. It's like a mentoring, really, I would say, or
Yeah, well,
collaborating, yes, but also
we're helpers
mentoring.
one to other, because even me, I'm constantly learning still. I could
Yeah.
give you information and thoughts of the past and what I've accumulated, but even in the Bible, it says something in the biblical sense. You always keep your mind open because you can learn from the mouth of a babe. It's
Yeah.
something in relation to that summed up. It's my memory back from the Bible days. I'm
Yeah.
not in the church anymore, but I keep some sentiments of what I received in church from years back, and little thoughts like that, to always be open to learn, and you can give. Now I have certain formats that I tried and tested, but it's
Mhm.
also keeping my mind alert and open to getting something new from anybody that you meet. We all can learn from each other. And always
Yes.
keep that there, in your journey.
It's like a constant evolvement and expansion in a
Mm,
beautiful and unexpected way. And
yeah.
I think that's a beautiful thing when you just said that you kind of go and work with different people, and each brings a little bit different kind of ideas, vibes, flavors, and it's for the learning experience of both sides. So that is a
Mm,
beautiful way of working and existing in
mm,
this life in general, not only in the music, I think,
yeah.
but in life in general, and
Mm,
supporting the people and each other and networking. So I hope that was inspiration for many of our viewers who are out there and maybe getting started in the
mm,
music or DJing, and
mm,
really the cultivate that open attitude and way of living, also with the notion that one needs to be careful with one's own energy.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Also very, very important, I
Mm,
think.
yes.
All right, so last but not least, we are almost at the end of this interview time, but I would like to ask you this. How
Mhm.
would you define, what is the definition of house music for you?
What's the definition of house music? How would you define house music? God, that's a good one. And I think someone has asked me that before, and I don't know how I've phrased it. What would be the definition of house music? A source of beauty to escape normal reality.
Yeah.
That's one with, I come up with these philosophical in my mind kind of thoughts of something trying to do it like it's where you can look at it from a different few perspectives in the thought.
Yeah.
What I'm saying. But house music is love for me, and it's always been from angle, escape from normal reality, of what was going on, and a healing source. I could
Mhm.
always go there and listen to songs and stuff, and they would heal me from anything that I was going through, with whether it be family, work environment, love, relationship scenarios. I could always find a healing and coming back to myself through listening to house music. So it's definitely, in relation to this earlier comment, fusion of what I said there.
Mhm.
a combination of what I said.
Very beautifully said. Now, if somebody wants to find you in social media, what would be the best place to find you?
Well, I said the website is musicaldirections.com. Then we have This is Robert Owens on Instagram, and I'm on Instagram a lot, so I think the This is Robert Owens on Instagram is a good place, to find me. And I'm there, visible, ready and waiting to talk and chat and connect and converse, create, and be a part of the family.
Yeah, beautifully stated. I thank you so very much for this interview. You just got me like somehow inspired even more. I'm gonna continue my day also in studio here. So sending much love from Helsinki, Finland to you, Robert.
Thank you so much too, and love to everybody there in the whole Helsinki family. Sending all of you love.
And I thank you dearly for your contributions to this thing called house music.
And yours too as well. Thank you.
Humbly received. So sending much love and ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Bye, bye.
Bye.